Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to another episode of the show, or the pre-show shows, or episodes, or however we're going to call them. Right, I didn't really know how this would think about this intro, and it's starting. It's running now. Okay, tonight we're talking about, or today, um, you know, we're talking about architecture and stuff like that. If you fancy that sort of thing, because I quite like the idea of street design and architecture and graphic design. I don't know if you ever noticed, I have to see my dinner. It's lovely, by the way. Thank you. Cool. Yes, the idea of potentially asking. Yeah, I'm a designer, if you haven't noticed. I quite like to do interiors one day and installs and inside stuff. Um, all that sort of lovely thing. And, um, I'm getting distracted by the shirt. Hopefully, I haven't worn the shirt before on a video, because at this point now we are cycling through all of my gear, really. So I'm gonna have to buy some new clothes, and I'm thinking I'm gonna buy suits, okay? Because obviously, I'm a lord, so I wear suits, okay? And then I can rewear those suits, and I won't feel so bad, maybe, and I'll potentially look, good, very good. Very good for an Englishman. I don't know who that sounds like. Anyway, architecture, post-war architecture specifically. Now, I'm quite a fan of English design, okay? And I'd go as far as to say it's the best ever and the best in the world. And I'm quite proud of it. Everything from the sort of cheap and commercial-ish sort of post-war stuff that you see to more commercial design, industrial design as well, and even fun design. And I'm not honestly a massive fan of stuff when it starts to venture out of the British standard design. The sort of modern things, and sometimes they look nice, but there's art, and then there's sort of tack in there, I guess. But British standard design and stuff is quality and looks brilliant. The good stuff, anyway. The stuff that's actually the standard. I'm waffling a bit, but anyway. So before the wall and stuff, there was a lot of bricks. There's lots of massive brick mega structures, and they all got blown up. A lot of them all knocked down, and then they built these post-war houses, and that's what we think are standard living, but it's quite a modern idea. Now, what this whole episode I want it to be about is potentially the illusion and the illusion and the ignorance of modern innovation and modern design, and how we think these advancements, as we've even seen them to ourselves, have benefited us to a degree, but in many ways have isolated us, potentially. But even now, those sort of post-war designs are getting knocked down again, and different things which more what's the word? We're sort of companies are sort of getting involved, aren't they? Design companies, brands, and all these sorts of things, and we're potentially losing assertion. We're losing sort of connection with our home, really, our home country, and it's strange, But when I have a vision of heaven, right, and where we've even talked about this place where everything's made of boobies, the land of milk and honey, these sorts of thing. You do think of this old sort of timey thing. Maybe it is quite hard to vision a futuristic metropolis. I don't know metropolis. This futuristic heaven place, which doesn't just look like, halls and castles and stuff, because that just seems to be like, to me anyway, the pinnacle of success. So there's no saying that humans haven't reworked and redesigned, the living area time and time again, and that wasn't, potentially the optimum way to live. And there's this idea maybe that you do see like Romans and they're just wearing like a toga or a sash or something, not a lot of anything. It doesn't mean that they didn't have all these things, and whatever their reasons were. I think that's interesting enough. And how much of like history we don't actually get to see for whatever reason, because it's secret, or because they want us to have a chance at our own successes, or God knows. But design anyway. So I think we're leading on. This is the 4th episode in this week's instalment of topics. And in one of the previous episodes, we were talking about, which I haven't actually filmed yet. I'm going to go out and buy some, because I wanted to wear orange for that one. And I'm kind of like, this is yellow and blue, because it sort of ties in with sort of the street English, them weird light up bollard things that you see, and like road markings and all this sort of things. So I guess it ties in kind of well nicely with that. Well nice, maybe. But for the other one, I want to spell orange. And we are talking about like a socialist structure, like the post-hospital. It's called. That's cool, isn't it? But I'd like quite interested to actually get involved and get into the idea of actually designing other infrastructures and facilities and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm thinking, is facades, that's like a lie, isn't it? But is that not something to do with castles as well, maybe? Don't know. But actually designing, because obviously as we've grown up, and as I've grown up even, the way that we sort of inhabitate an area has changed. And the idea of having, because in England and Europe even, you might have had like blocks of like maisonettes, flats, blocks of flats and stuff, and there would be like pubs and shops, all these sorts of things, and then in the centre, and then as you worked out, there'd be even more pubs, and then you go into the town and there'd be pubs and clubs and shops and all these sorts of things. But you don't really see this so much anymore at all, and all the pubs for one are closing down. The pubs in the centres of the areas, they used to tend to be quite rough apparently, and they all got knocked down, turned into just shops, I guess. And I don't know. Could that be an issue with the social structure? Is we're just so horrible as people, and we do need to be sort of not lobotomized, but like lulled or something. I don't know. But we'll go into it more in the previous episode, which I haven't done yet. But so what were we talking about? I don't know. Architecture, I guess, and how humans have interacted, and how we are being slowly pulled away from our homes, and they're being destroyed, and where do we go from there? I think that's pretty much it. I don't know, but as I'm sure you could guess, I'd quite like to reinstate British, not unionist values, but like British equality values, which would tie in with an idea of like a not like a school of thought, but like a standard, pretty much, and tie in function and beauty together, and actually have more of a, I guess I'll say masculine function approach, and then you could move into more of the beautiful, revered, I don't want to say feminine, because everything things are beautiful. Classically in nature, the male stuff is the stuff which is beautiful, and the women's stuff is more down to earth. So I don't know how that transposed into human culture, but interesting to know. I don't know. because originally I was going to do a bit of poem, for this episode. So sorry if there's a lack of structure to this right now. But I didn't really. Sorry, I'm just drinking something. I don't want to eat brands. I was going to do a poem, right? And I was going to talk about the effect of war on the living structures. But I didn't really, not as well. I'm not saying I don't know what I was talking about, but I didn't want to accuse any, political meddlings of, people being pushed into war from around the world because of political, undertones, But that, whether or not that was a reason, that definitely happened, and it still happens. Still, people continuously getting gentrified, as they say, or whatever. Even myself, who's a person whose family lived in London and worked in London, still did work in London up till very recently, and even myself, I worked in London from 16. Lived outside of London, quite a reasonable distance from London, because it's so damn expensive. And I guess I commend, that's the word. I respect people, immigrants and stuff, who have moved to England, because one, England is a lovely place, and thank you for coming here, and I find it my responsibility as an English person and a person who's proud of England to make it as brilliant as possible for you, right? Firstly. Secondly, I respect the fact why you would have come here, because the world is in a terrible way, and your efforts should be respected when you come here. The real reason people get hostile is obviously because there's not always a plan. People who haven't necessarily still fending for themselves, there might not be a case. But I respect the fact you come here. It's a good thing, and I personally think more people means more work. And hopefully we can sort things out together and grow. With an English standard, because we're brilliant. Then, just how much actual hard work and stuff that you've had to go through and stuff, because it's bloody expensive. And I guess there was some other points, but just well done and thank you. And hopefully you like England, and hopefully some people haven't really ruined it for you, maybe. And hopefully you've still got some admiration for England, and hopefully you actually want to be here, and you're not just here because you have to be. But really, who isn't? Really. But yeah, England's brilliant, guys, and I'd like to say that we can actually build a great country again, whoever we are, of the values and the things that we love, and move across the world, because a lot of the world culture is being destroyed by modern movements and lack of actual interaction from the governments, because society is breaking down everywhere. People are quite struggled, I guess. But yeah, I'd like to be able to say that we can actually make something great. Not like make America great, but like just have some quality culture, really, for everywhere. Yeah, don't know what that would mean, because obviously it's a new age, but things exist within the climate, don't they? So, but then again, we have the ability to grow things inside now, don't we? So to speak. Not saying that we should, because that sort of becomes a bit like the idea of the gardens of Babylon or something, don't it? Amy-ish, like wall gardens and stuff. But I don't know. I'm getting confused. But yeah, come on, we've got to stick together and actually create, the high street. This is reality. Is on the ground and doing things. We can't be, live within our own little bubbles and stuff, because you can't just have a world of bubbles, can we? We need to be just in the world. So, post-war architecture today. I can just close my eyes and think of road signs and stuff like that, because bit weirder. I like I like graphic design. But yeah, hopefully we'll talk more, and hopefully we have talked. Hopefully I covered some good points in the post-hospital thing. But I don't really, I can't remember what the hell this episode was supposed to be about. Just sniffling, drinking water off screen, and going, my dinner was delicious. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to build something again and make it all British and lovely, and you know, just help out whoever we need to be, and stuff like this. Don't know. Right. Do I end it here? Probably. Or I might have to retweet this once I actually figure out what the hell it is I'm talking about. Architecture, guys, it's lovely, isn't it? Interesting how we've moved from bricks to sort of plastic and cement to don't know what this stuff is. Sort of like metal-ish and like plastic, more plastic, but in a different slick look. And yeah, how it's kind of awful, in my opinion. But yeah, right, lovely, thank you. You know, we've still got all the old equipment, so if we wanted to throw them together, we could do that. And you know, if you're also interested in design and building and art, graphics, whatever, we'll build a school and it'll be lovely, and we'll put some, I don't know, all the stuff that I want to do in it, because you know, I'm in charge of this. So now whatever, we'll figure it out. Love you dearly, and you know, have a good evening, and take care. And next week we're going to be talking about some other stuff, so probably might hopefully be a bit more focused on what I'm talking about. Yeah, because I didn't want to talk about stuff I haven't talked about in the previous episode. So you know, you can see my bit of dilemma. And honestly, I don't really know what am I talking about. Architecture, plastic, yellow and blue plastic, and white stuff. All numbers.